Last week we were posting videos on our Instagram and wanted to show you how we teach tenses. And in this first video, the student of Natalia Shevchenko, Sofia, is talking about tenses in active and passive voice.
В данный момент грамматика объясняется.
Grammar is being explained right now.
Люди создали различные жанры музыки.
People have invented different types of music.
Музыка была создана до того, как появилось пение.
Music had been invented before painting was.
In this video, the students of Olena Victorova use speaking cards to talk about their daily activities.
I usually go to the pool on Saturday in the morning. After swimming pool, I have breakfast, communicate with friends, and go home and help my mother. I went to the pool yesterday and forgot home my hat in the shelf. Firstly, I got up late. Secondly, was in hurry. Thirdly, forgot my hat on the shelf. I have got a flu, so I have so I can breathe and smell. Tomorrow I will go to the doctor, and next Saturday I will take my hat.
This video shows a more advanced speaking card with the help of which the students of Julia Grechko talk about their daily activities.
Let me talk about my studies. Firstly, at present I'm a student of basic school, which I entered in 2013. So I have been studying here for 5 years, since 2013. Before I was in primary school, which I finished in 2013. I studied this from 2009 to 2013 for 4 years. After finishing this school, I plan to pursue my studies at secondary school.
The events in the past are the focus of the next video, and the students of Natalia Shevchenko are retelling the story about Titanic.
It happened to Lawrence Beasley in 1912, when he traveled on the Titanic first and last voyage.
At 2012, Titanic suddenly had hit the iceberg and began to sink.
When Beasley was reading book, others having fun at the multiple deck of the ship.
Okay, we're having fun. Да?
Ну ладно. While he has many other passengers, ну тут получается, passengers was resting, the others were having fun at the multiple desks of the ship.
Только multiple, да.
Finally, Beasley had rescued, and after we'll described his adventure.
Okay.
People were cold and tired because they had been floating in the cold water, and they also were shocked because they had seen the deaths of other passengers.
In this video, again, we examine the story of Titanic retold by other students.
The topic of my today's talk is the loss of Titanic. It happened to Lawrence Beasley in 1912 when he traveled on Titanic to New York.
At 20 minutes to 12 p.m., suddenly ship hit an iceberg.
When the Titanic hit into iceberg, Lawrence Beasley was reading book. While people were having fun, the ship was sinking.
At midnight, the ship sank because the ship had crashed iceberg. Survivors had been floating for 3 hours.
Finally, the ship Carpathia rescued them.
Survivors were exhausted and cold because they had floating for 3 hours.
Survivors was shocked because they had seen the death of the other passengers.
Beasley was angry because Titanic had reserved several warnings for iceberg but hadn't slowed it down.
The event of the future is the focus of the next speaking card, and here the students speak about the future of education.
In the future, all students are going to Google some relevant information that is related to what they study.
In the future, electronic gadgets will be given for students, and students will be learning online.
By the middle of the 20th century, most students will have been learning on their own space.
If students are allowed, they will form their curriculum by themselves.
By the time most of courses will have been chosen by the global lists by students.
Also, students will be depressed because they wouldn't have know anything.
Oh, wouldn't have learned anything, да?